First of all, thank you for joining the conversation. I appreciate your engagement. Okay. I see that you are intentionally trying, right, to do something here with a good faith. Okay. You said all courts are established through the Constitution and operate through Article 3. Unfortunately, that is wrong. Okay. And here's what happened. Like you said, Article 1 is the legislative branch. Section 8 is the enumerated powers given to Congress. And then Clause 3 talks about how Congress shall be given the power to regulate commerce among the several states. So Congress took this clause to regulate commerce and ran with it wildly and started creating these administrative agencies. We know them as like the FBI, the DEA, the ATF, these kinds of things, and as well as creating these courts in the states, and they are administrative courts. So we do have Article 1 courts. I would venture to say I've never seen an Article 3 court in my entire life. Many of my mentors have said the same thing. Where are the Article 3 courts in America anymore? They are all in this administrative agency capacity. Administrative courts, the deep state. Administrative state is the deep state. Okay, and so that's what's going on. But with the overturning of the Chevron deference, which means that the courts can't just say, well, the EPA can make up the rule and they can interpret the rule, and that's their deal. Now, with the Chevron deference being overturned, the courts have to, again, own the liability of the interpretation of the laws that are presented in their own courts anymore, so they don't get to just defer to the administrative agencies created by Congress, even though they are an administrative agency as well. I hope this is helpful. And then just addressing your presumption here that the reason that I'm getting pulled over and abused and harassed is because I believe that I don't have capacity, I don't have to obey the rules and the laws, right? That I'm just this lawless guy and I wear a skull on my hat because I want to be lawless and all that. No, dude, okay? This administrative agencies then have their own what's called policies that they have to obey and abide by. This is the thing that I follow, as well as this. Okay, these are the laws. Okay, and a law is something that is passed by Congress, but the law is what's given from the Most High Creator. Okay, so if you want to really boil it down, right, I have 10 rules that I follow, and that's what I do. Okay, these people who want to identify as what's called a United States citizen, which does mean employee, so they're viewed as an employee of this administrative state, then yes, an employee does have to obey its corporate policies and procedures. That's what an employee has to do. And this is done through a declaration. And mind you, most people are lying. They don't know they're lying, but they're lying when they identify as such a corporate United States citizen because they don't match what the definition truly is. And furthermore, these people who say that they're residents. Okay, to be a resident means something that we are not told about. Okay, and so there's a lot going on here, but do you think this movement has such popularity because we're all wrong? No, it's because the truth is being revealed. We're in the age of revelation at the moment, and I'm trying to be very respectful to you, and you are kind of using a lot of presumptions to cast me as some kind of villain, when I'm really just showing how we the people truly are the real and only law enforcement anymore, because everybody has fallen into the hypnosis of enforcing an administrative state. Okay, and then there came the Judicial Improvement Act. I think it was 1991. Let me double check. It's 1990. Anyway, this allows the judge in there to just become a mediator all of a sudden. Or now I'm going to act in the capacity of a judge. Or now I'm going to be a mediator. Well, now I'm going to be something else. And I don't have to tell anybody at any time whatsoever, right? It's to streamline the judicial process. But I mean, we can read between the lines. What they're trying to do is completely rob we the people of all of the power that has always been ours, right? And so again, we are the true and only law enforcement. And if we are to do it correctly, we need to know what we're talking about. And we need to not be just using what was taught to us in school. Yes, it should be. You're right. It should be that the people and legislation create the law, and then the executive branch enforces that which is what's created, and then the Article 3, the courts are the ones that interpret the law. That's how it should be. You're very correct. That's not what's going on. Everything has been usurped under Article 1 because they're just running with this idea of regulating commerce, and everything is commerce. These courts are operating as banks. Everything has become commerce. All of they call it color of law. So there is no executive branch. There is no judicial branch. We have an administrative state. We have a deep state. We have an administrative agency that is operating in the capacity of all of those. Now, the only way they can enforce anything upon the people is if the people voluntarily identify as one of their employees. And some people are like, hey, I just woke up to the fact that I guess I'm not an employee. And if I am, I'm not being paid for my performance as an employee, right? That's why we're not drivers. That's why we're not doing certain other performances, because we're not obliged to do so. Well, you live in this country. The country is a federal corporation, okay? That's what it is anymore. The country is this. We live in our, if you want to get down to it, that corporation is operating on our land with given our alleged permission. Okay, so if you want, like, oh, we're part of their country, no, their country is essentially encroaching and now infringing and now harassing we the people, and that is not what was given to us in Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. Some people have had enough, and we're just not being hypnotized anymore, and we know the truth of what's going on, and we're enforcing it now. Have a great day. I'm going to leave off by saying what we actually have is a Jesuit military control mechanism that is disguised as civilian life. We have been under martial law for over 100 years, and we're waking up to the fact that we don't want to endure that. So that's actually what's going on. Probably don't need to get into that too much, but yes. Okay, we're done. Some people can self-govern. Some people have the capacity to self-govern. What I would like to see is people that are running the operation saying, wow, thank you, my fellow American, because this is being killed by corporations and lobbyists and foreign affairs, right? And so thank you, my fellow American, for asserting and standing on your rights. I'm sorry that our agents are harassing you. I would like to issue a formal apology, and then also, like, hats off to you, my friend. Good work out here. Thank you. But instead it's, you sovereign citizen, you should go to jail, and it's, fuck you. Like, no, dude. Go after the real criminals. They won't, right? Because, what, over 50% of Congress has dual citizenship with that one country, right? So, of course, this is the enemy. Grow up. I'm just kidding, man. All right, thanks for the conversation.